The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Indianapolis, Tyrese Halliburton, who didn't score here in New York on October the 25th, goes for 35. Miles Turner for 3. Pacers outscored the Knicks in the fourth quarter 40-27 and beat the Knicks 132-121. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pidto along with Wally Szczerbiak. So after 3, Wally, the Knicks are up by 2. But for the third straight road game, they have problems on the road in the fourth quarter. The Pacers in that fourth quarter made 8 threes. For the game, the Knicks made 7 threes.
Pick and roll. Knicks had no answer for Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner in that high pick and roll. They were spreading the floor. The Pacers had already gotten hot from the three-point line. Ben Mathurin couldn't miss. Other guys were throwing in threes, and they just said, Tyrese, just go do your thing in that fourth quarter. Knicks had no answer for it. Mikal Bridges was just running into that screen, wasn't getting much help from Karl Anthony Towns, and Halliburton just had the green light to turn the corner, get to the basket and finish, and also find his teammates. That was an impressive fourth quarter. We talked about how good of an offense this team has, this Indiana Pacers team. They showed it in crunch time, 40 points in that fourth quarter. Knicks have to get back to the drawing board defensively. They have to slow down teams defensively. Tom Thibodeau has to find an answer for some of these runs that teams are going on, especially in crunch time in the fourth quarter when it's supposed to be hard to be scored on.
And Indiana was shorthanded. We talked in the pregame. No Nembhard, no Nesmith, Obi Toppin out, but it didn't matter. And the Knicks had some bad breaks early in the fourth quarter. OG Anunoby had a great first half with 19 points. Here, we thought this was a 3, but upon further review, foot on the line, no 3.
Yeah, that's a big play. You know, the Knicks had a 5-point lead early on in that fourth quarter. That was reviewed and taken away. And there's T.J. McConnell. When he's in, he just creates havoc for the Knicks. Mathurin with that and 1 puts him up 5. Karl Anthony Towns, outstanding move, gets that and 1 to cut the lead to 2. So you feel like the Knicks are in it. But then Miles Turner with those rainbow threes, just bringing rain from the top of the key. Knicks couldn't get out to him. He can space the floor from 25 feet. There's another pick and roll, just wide open look. Steps right into it, knocks down that shot. Tyrese hit that bucket, extended it to a 10-point lead. And once a team gets hot from the three-point line, once a couple guys start feeling it from deep, and Halliburton had it going, Mathurin had it going, and Miles Turner had it going, those guys just continue to just light it up from the three-point line. Knicks have to do a better job of not letting guys get into the flow and into the rhythm early on in games, because once NBA players see that ball going through the basket, especially from the three-point line, they can go for big nights. And Tyrese had a big night, his best game of the season so far.
Halliburton, we mentioned the 35-12 came in the fourth quarter. Ben Mathurin, a career-high 38. So in the last 2 road games, at Houston and at Atlanta, you could make the case the problem was late game, fourth quarter execution. In this game, it was fourth quarter defensive execution.
No question. And you got to remember, the Knicks absolutely annihilated the Pacers in game 2 of the season at the Garden. So this Pacer team was circling this game. This is a team that has a lot of pride. They matched up against each other in the playoffs last year in the second round. It was a Game 7 series where Pacers didn't lose at home in that series. This is a good home court team. They were circling this game to kind of figure out their season and get their season on track, because they were 4-5 coming in, weren't off to a great start. And they sent a message that this team's for real. This team has a lot of depth coming off the bench. You mentioned the guys that are out, Nesmith and Nembhard, Obi, but they got guys that can replace them. Jarris Walker was a top 10 pick. Ben Shepherd can shoot the ball, though he struggled a little bit tonight. They got guys that got into the lineup and played very, very well, and they had their top 4 who also played great, Siakam included.
And Mathurin now in the starting lineup because of the injuries. Boy, he was lights out. He made 7 threes. On the plus side for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson was excellent. Wally, 33 points and 10 assists.
He was outstanding. He struggled a little bit last game against the Bucks, but not this game. He did whatever he wanted in the fourth quarter. He was aggressive. He was finding mismatches. You know, I think one thing, not having some of those guys to defend Jalen Brunson, he took advantage of Ben Shepherd on a lot of these moves. He was able to use his strength, use his size a little bit, get into the paint and make things happen. Jalen Brunson was outstanding. So was Karl Anthony Towns. Brunson went for 30. Brunson went for 33. Towns went for 30. but the defense just wasn't there against this Pacer team. And Jalen Brunson knows that they have to figure out things defensively in order to win basketball games. That's how they won basketball games last season. The offense is going to be there for this Knicks team. They're just too talented offensively. The percentages were good for Jalen and the team. They just couldn't get enough threes to go. They only made 7 threes, whereas 21 threes for the Pacers. That's the difference in the game. Got to find a way to knock down those triples and get more looks.
All right, let us bring in Monica McNutt. She helped call the game on ESPN New York, the radio broadcast. Monica, what did you think watching there in Indianapolis?
So I think that this team desperately needs to get healthy. Their third quarter, Rick Carlisle has the embarrassment of riches. He's going, 10 deep. Miles Turner and Tyrese Halliburton had the opportunity to rest. So they come in the fourth quarter and literally go gangbusters. They're so efficient. The Pacers hit more threes in the fourth quarter than the Knicks hit in the game. And so to me, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, the starters look gassed. And so then the rotation suffered defensively. They were okay in terms of scoring, but when you compare it to how efficient and effective the Pacers were able to be, it's tough to look at those margins.
Monica, how do they stop that pick and roll? High pick and roll between Halliburton and Miles Turner every play in that fourth quarter, and the Knicks had no answer for it.
So you know this, Wally. Like, if you're going to play that, right, and sometimes you got to pick your poison, whether you decide to push up on it or whether you're going to switch hard. But all of that is just so draining, especially with guys of their size, right? In the fourth quarter, it looked like they were okay. It looked to me that they were willing to switch 2 through 5. They were trying to keep Jalen Brunson on the point guard. But other than that, you were willing to work with your variety of defenders when you talk about Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, and even Towns. But the switches, you got to switch out so hard to be disruptive, right? And then the rotations have to be so sharp even when you do switch out hard, because that's the nature of the NBA game. And to me, like, that's when it was most glaring that they could not cover the necessary ground to make the Pacers uncomfortable enough.
You know, Monica, Tom Thibodeau often looks at rebounding. The Knicks won that. The points in the paint, the Knicks dominated by the count of 64-38. But as we talked about, when you're outscored from 3, 21 made threes to 7 made threes, you just can't make that up.
That's tough, right? And by halftime, I can't remember exactly, but it was even or close to even in terms of threes. But in the second half, the Knicks were unable to generate those looks and capitalize on them, right? And so it's still early. I'm going to continue to say that. It is still early, and the health of this team is very real. But when you look at teams that are athletic, that have depth, it has proven to be challenging for this team so far. Now, if you roll into Philadelphia this upcoming week on Tuesday, that is a different sort of matchup in terms of their personnel, and so there's an opportunity there. But I actually thought the Knicks got decent looks. They clearly didn't get enough up, and they weren't able to connect.
All right, Monica, thanks so much. Enjoy the game on Tuesday. That's a TNT game. We'll see you for the Knicks' next home game on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
All right, Wally, the bench minutes. Kolek played under 2 minutes. Sims played 9:08. McBride played 29. So you can make the case that the Knicks played basically 6 players.
They did.
Monica's making a great point. Do you think it's a problem now in the fourth quarter that the other team just has more energy?
Well, at home, that building was rocking. The Pacers guys did play a lot of minutes, though. Mathurin played 41, Siakam 34, Turner 39, and Tyrese played 35. So they played heavy minutes.
So forget my thesis.
No, but I hear what you're saying. At some point, the games are coming. There's a back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday, then Friday, and then there's another back-to-back coming after that.
Sunday and Monday next week. Yeah.
At some point, the Knicks are going to have to get something and more production out of their bench, because playing only 6 guys, basically, the Knicks starters are great. They all score in double figures, and they're front-loaded with their starting 5. But at the same time, it's going to catch up to them in time. Continuing to play this many minutes and on the road is not easy to win, especially in the fourth quarter when it's a raucous building. You need an injection of energy from your bench at times.
Precious Achiuwa remains out with a hamstring injury. Campaign still out with his hamstring injury. When we come back, we're going to get the post-game reaction from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau as the Knicks lose to the Pacers. New York now 4-5 through 9 games. So Tuesday, the Knicks are in Philly, game 1 of the Emirates NBA Cup for the Knicks, and then they're back home. We have the game Wednesday. Tuesday's game is TNT. Bulls here Wednesday, pregame at 7, game at 7:30. Back with Wally as the Pacers tonight beat the Knicks by the count of 132-121. In the pregame, we talked about OG Anunoby's phenomenal defense. First half, he had his best half scoring as a Knick with 19, and he finished the game with 25.
Yeah, he was outstanding. He carried the offense in the first half. Just a good rhythm and flow, knocking down his three-point shots. I think he's doing a great job of taking advantage of his size. He had some mismatches when teams try to guard him with a smaller defender. He took them down low and scored. OG has been outstanding, and his defense has been really good all season long. It's just surprising that a Knicks team with this many good defenders on it would give up this many points, 40 in the fourth quarter and 34 in the third quarter. So they gave up 74 points in the second half. That's just not going to get it done. That's surprising. They have to go back to the drawing board. But overall, OG Anunoby's off to a great start this season. Just doing everything that the Knicks wanted him to do when they acquired him last year. I think I've seen a lot more offensively than he showed in Toronto for the most part.
Now, why do you think that is?
I just think the way the pieces fit, he's open a lot because you got to guard Towns and Brunson. They attract a lot of attention. And Tom Thibodeau's really figured out a way to utilize him offensively and his skill set and take it to a new level. And that's a really good thing. That's why he loves playing for the Knicks. That's why he re-signed with the Knicks. And the Knicks love having him here.
Anunoby shot well, 9 of 14 shooting and 4 of 4 from downtown. He's been really effective from long range.
I know. There was a point a couple games last week where he was 8 for 11 from the three-point line in 2 games. He takes good, high-quality shots. He's going to get good, high-quality shots and open looks because of all the attention that other guys are garnering on the offensive end of the floor, and he can get himself into rhythm. I think he should look to shoot even more and look to score even more. He always has, you didn't even notice he had 19 in the first half. It was a quiet 19. He sprinkles in a few free throws, a few post-ups, knocks down a few threes, but that's a big half for a guy like OG Anunoby. So when you have 19 in that first half, sometimes you got to hunt your shot a little bit in the second half and try to get yourself to the point where you can have another half to back up that first half.
So Anunoby, 19 in the first half, only 6 in the half, number 2. Time now to listen into Tom Thibodeau's post-game comments, as always, presented by Chase.
Questions?
What you saw defensively in the second half, 74 points, 40 in the fourth.
Yeah, they're a great offensive team, and we gave up way too much. So if you don't challenge shots, they're going to make. So too big of a discrepancy from the three-point line, and they made 21. We made 7. So that's a problem. But our offense, we score 121, shoot 55. Get to the line a lot, rebound them, but didn't cover the line. So we got to fix it, and we got to fix it fast. Yeah, no, we got to do better all the way around. I want to take a look at the film, but we got to look at the scheme. We got to look at the matchup. We got to look at a lot of things, and then we also got to have an awareness. We have to understand if a guy comes down and hits 3, the next time they're searching him, he can't get another one. We have to have that awareness of what's going on in the game. And sometimes it's you're put into a situation where you got to read the ball, and it's a quick veer, and you have to understand that, and we have to do better, and we will.
When you say we have to fix that, the three-point discrepancy, what does that look like to you?
Yeah, just and again, so how did they get them? And I felt like early in the first half, I thought they got some in transition, like weak side threes. And we had talked about that, and that's communication, that's awareness, understanding what they're looking for. And so there was a shift, and everyone's got to be moving on the flight of the ball, and you got to be there on the catch. And if you get 2 guys walking to one, or, running to one, then you're leaving somebody wide open, and that can't happen, And so that, in general, I'd say the communication has to be a lot better, right? And particularly when you're playing a team that can put points up on the board, we had a 10-point lead, and it's not, it's not safe. Like a 10-point lead is not safe in this league. So obviously we have to do better. We have to do a lot better.
Is there any hope for either Precious or Cam to come back for the Philly game?
Yeah, like I told you guys the other day, I don't want to speak prematurely. They're working on the court. Cam's further along because obviously he's doing a lot more on the court. Precious is more like he still hasn't been cleared for practice, so that'll be he's doing a lot on the court, but hasn't been cleared for practice. So there's another step before we could say that he's getting close,
You got, like I say, that's 3 out of 4 where you guys have defensively played.
Yeah.
Just kind of you seeing coming down.
Yeah, no, we have to be strong on both sides of the ball. Like if we're just going to rely on offense, we're not going to be a good team. So we have to do better. And the fourth quarter is different. We got to treat it differently. We got to understand how hard we have to play in the fourth quarter, and we have to do better.
Wally, is part of this that when you run into a team that was as hot as Indiana was, that you just can't do a lot about it?
It's part of it, but Tom Thibodeau is not going to make that excuse. Absolutely not. He is not going to be happy with this film. In the NBA, you got to make the other team uncomfortable, and it has to start from the beginning of the game. You were talking about 2 guys out of the lineup. Well, this Indiana Pacer team lost a couple of their defensive guys, but they picked up and added more minutes for some of their offensive guys and their offensive
like
guys.
Mathurin, for example.
Mathurin was lights out from the beginning. He was motivated. He knew he was going to get a lot of minutes, knock down shots from the beginning of the game, and that's something the Knicks have to be prepared for, to not allow guys to start feeling it. And once guys start feeling it in the NBA and have talent like Ben Mathurin does, he was a top 10 draft pick, he's going to really hurt you. And he really hurt the Knicks from the three-point line and on the offensive end of the floor.
Mathurin, a career high 38, went 7 of 9 from downtown. So the Knicks are in Philly Tuesday on TNT. You can listen on the radio on ESPN New York. Our next Knicks game here on MSG, hosting the Bulls Wednesday. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. Pacers beat the Knicks tonight, 132-121. We're back from the Corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra, Superior Light Beer. Superior play again tonight, Wally, from Karl Anthony Towns, went for 30 points.
Yeah, another double-double. I mean, he's been outstanding in that department. He just has a lot to do defensively to anchor this defense. Offensively, he's really talented. He really is. And he had a matchup in Miles Turner that he was able to take advantage of his speed, quickness, and versatility, his ability to put the ball on the floor, get Miles Turner moving around a little bit. It was just tough for him to defend that pick and roll when Miles Turner was getting those threes up at the top of the key. But overall, Karl Anthony Towns continuing to just compile outstanding numbers. Missed a double-double there, by 1 rebound. He had the 9 rebounds. He's been a double-double machine, but at the same time, there weren't a lot of rebounds to get because all those threes that the Pacers were making. Karl has to continue to work, watch some film with the coaching staff, and they need to come together as a team and figure out how to defend that pick and roll. Because fourth quarter, like we were talking about, it was all pick and roll that hurt the Knicks and gave up 40 points in that fourth.
You want evidence of the modern-day NBA? Cat, 5 made threes. Miles Turner, the Pacers starting center, 5 made threes.
That's it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
those guys shoot those rainbows from up top at the top of the key, and they just were nailing those triples. Turner can shoot them from really deep, so that really extends your defense. He's 7 feet tall, so you can be there to contest, but you don't bother him because he has a high release and he's so tall. So that's the new wave of the NBA, and that was impressive shooting by 2 big-time stretch 5s.
So Cat in this game had 30. Miles Turner had 26. It's the Pacers who win. Tyrese Halliburton, who we mentioned, didn't score here in New York on October the 25th, but he had 35. Brunson had 33 in the Knicks loss. We will take a look ahead when we come back right after this.
Any NBA play can inspire your next hunch. And with 3 months of NBA League Pass from FanDuel, you're about to get a whole lot more inspiration. So if you think they're going to rock the rim right out of the gates,
hello,
or you want to RSVP to the block party,
there he is. Yes, sir.
Or you think it's going to start raining threes,
let's go!
FanDuel has more ways to bet on players so you can make your hunches happen. Right now, new customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Plus, all customers get 3 months of NBA League Pass on us. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Amazon early holiday deals are here.
Woo! Woo!
With everything you need to kick off the season.
Woo!
Shop Amazon early holiday deals now.
Woo!
Home sweet home. The North Pole has been taken.
There's worse ways to go out than trying to save Santa Claus.
Is my face still there? That was so embarrassing.
Red 1, rated PG-13, only in theaters Friday.
All right, so here's what's ahead. The Emirates NBA Cup, the first game for the Knicks at Philly on Tuesday. That game's on TNT. You can listen on ESPN New York. That's the radio call. Wednesday, Knicks back home to take on the Bulls. Then a home game against Brooklyn. In fact, Brooklyn comes in for back-to-back games, and then the Wizards are here next Monday.